We'll phase the music out.
Such a pro.
So fancy sometimes. All right. And we're recording. Thank you, everybody, for being on with us tonight. We love having live participants on and seeing your comments in the chat box. It makes it more fun and real for us. So thank you so much. Tonight, we are going to talk about a really exciting skill number 3 in your book, chapter 6, presenting your product or opportunity to your prospects. I feel like this, Mom and I both said when we were talking, we love this chapter. We love this chapter so much because we really love this topic. Because I think that we're going to create a lot of freedom for people tonight that are not sure how to do this and they want to share and they don't know how. And we're going to create a lot of freedom for you. And we're also going to make it really exciting and fun for you guys to do your own events, your own home parties, your own sip and sees. We're going to tell you exactly how to do that and share with you our stories. So to get started, we just covered, the last 2 weeks we covered identifying your prospects, which is everybody. You should be talking to everybody about Plexus, and inviting them to learn more, asking if you can share, and now we're going to talk about how to share and what to say. So the first part, he starts off in the second chapter that the biggest thing in understanding how to share is that it's not about you. You are not the issue. And we want to park here for a second. And he talks about how in the beginning, he thought it was all about him and what he knew and being this encyclopedia of facts on his product. And that if he just knew it all, that everybody would sign with him, right? But what we know in Plexus is that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so that's what we want to talk about. We're really going to tweak this to Plexus because you know, this book is about network marketing and social marketing in general, but we know Plexus is different. Plexus is something that affects people's lives. It just doesn't make them prettier or make their house prettier, which is nice, but this is affecting their life and who they are, and that's why we can truly say we offer hope. So Plexus is different. So Mom, can you talk about, he lists 3 different things, but can you talk about how the issues someone runs into when they feel like they need to know it all and be the encyclopedia and what happens with that?
Yes, and I think you're talking about page 68.
Yes.
If you guys are not sure. Okay, so yeah, he talks about really what I have found, and what he talks about is when you kind of stall yourself when you decide that you have to become an expert. And Kristen Abart is pretty famous for the, I don't know, you ask her questions sometimes and that's what she says. And it's just so freeing. And I want you guys to know that in the beginning, I don't know, Amber, if you remember this, you probably do because you tease me about it so much, but I didn't even know the prices. Like I had to ask Amber for my website and how much things cost, like tons of times. What I knew is I knew what the products have done for me and why people should be interested in them for themselves. Mm-hmm. And so that really is unique to Plexus. It's great to always be learning, and you should spend a little bit of time. The key is a little bit of time improving your knowledge base every day, but do not wait until you have all the answers to everything, because Amber and I still don't have all the answers to everything. And I would say most jewels do not. So that is something that is very unique to Plexus.
Exactly. Casey said she still doesn't know the prices.
Yes.
But you're making money and you're sharing with people, so there you go. So another key point in not needing to know it all is the power in being able to use tools and use resources. Mm-hmm. And he talks a lot about in 68 and 69, on pages 68 and 69, about duplication and why this is important for duplication. So we really wanted to talk about this too, because if you're talking to a prospect, and let's say, for example, they ask you how the ProBiow 5 works in the gut, for example, and you feel like, oh, I need to know, I have to, which is a good thing to know. I mean, if you guys have a favorite author, you're going to read all their books, right? If you have a friend, you want to know all about them. Plexus is so key in your life. You want to be a student of the products, and you want to be a student of our opportunity in our industry because you want to know. But what would happen, let's say you think, I have to know, I've got to write out to them, I got to go research and read 15 articles, understand it all, send them a message about what it's doing in the gut. Or you can go grab the video in your back office in Shareables on the triplex that explains what it does in the gut, or you can go research probiotic and plexus on YouTube and get a video from Almay Darling or Lori Harrison on what Probio5 does in the gut and send them that video. And here's what you just did. Not only did you educate yourself by watching it, which was easy and simple to do, right? You sent them something simple and easy, but you just taught them subconsciously that when they join you on your team and somebody asks them about probiotic, they don't have to know it all. They can send a video. You just taught them that subconsciously, and there's power in that, in duplicating that. So don't feel bad. Don't feel bad if you don't. I don't know the prices actually still most of the time. So I say, let me go check, and I go check, and I'll send them a screenshot or something like that, because I don't know, I'm just sharing hope and excitement, and I love it, and I know they're going to love it. But yes, that's freeing, like Mom said, and that's powerful to the person you're talking to subconsciously for when they join your team and they become an ambassador.
Yeah, I want to add that I love the products and the science of the products, and my primary is a yellow and my secondary is a green, I have come to find out. And so in the beginning, I overwhelmed people with information because I loved to give it. But really, like what Amber said, that sets up a bad duplication situation, because then they feel like they have to know everything that I know. But guess what? People's eyes glaze over. They don't want all that information. And they're just doing what they think they should do, but really what they're wanting to know by asking for information. But really what they're wanting to know is, how will this help me and why? Short. Really short. If you send them an article, they most likely will just glaze over it anyway, because what matters most is what you are saying to them.
Exactly. And with them glazing over it, what I've noticed happens is they'll feel like they can't order the product now from you until they read those articles you sent, or until they watch the 10 videos that you sent. So it almost paralyzes them from being able to make a decision, instead of you just saying, here's something really short, I'm loving it, this is what it's doing for me, and I can't wait to see what it does for you. That works for 99% of the people, unless they're a total green personality. And then have fun with that. Have fun with that one.
Yeah, and let me tell you, really, I do know the price, the wholesale price of Probio5. It's $29.95. So you don't need to overwhelm these people with information on a product that's going to help them as much as this $29.95 product will, because I bet when they go and they buy something off the shelf at Target or Whole Foods, they're not getting 10 articles sent to them. So just make it easy.
Make it easy. And it's $24.95 wholesale.
Oh, oops.
$29.95 is as a preferred. So you were close. Point proven. Okay, so he talks about duplication, and with that, we wanted to mention one more thing. So everything you do, not only what you send them, not only how you share the products, but also what you do when your new ambassador joins you becomes duplication, and they're going to duplicate everything you do. So let's talk about one thing. For example, 3-way calls, and a 3-way call with your upline and your newbie, and how important that is. And we preach that all the time in our duplication training and our steps we give you. But most people don't take you up on it. They think it's not necessary. Oh, my ambassador doesn't need that. I've already shared with her all the tools. She doesn't need to talk to my upline. I thought that as Diamond. I thought, I'm a Diamond. I can do the call. I don't need my upline to be on the phone with me and my newbie. I can do it. But here's what happens when you make that decision not to do your 3-way phone call or your 3-way chat to introduce your upline. Your new ambassador isn't going to have it modeled for them, so they're not going to do it when their new ambassador joins them. And I saw that happening as a Diamond, and I realized, wow, I'm really missing that right there. It's still important. It's still important for the duplication factor of it. Everything is. So we're going to get into Zoom parties or events or sip and sees, launch parties, whatever you want to call them. When you have your new ambassador, invite a few friends over and you tell them about Plexus in the living room, and how a lot of people skip this step because maybe it scares you and you feel like you don't know it all and you're not going to know what to say, but how important it is. Because if you don't do it for them, they're not going to do it for their people, and now you have no duplication happening. And I love when he said that if there is no duplication, then network marketing is just a job. Because the beautiful side of network marketing is that you're creating residual income, and you're doing that by creating other leaders, by creating other bosses of themselves. You're creating other, you want more diamonds on your team. You want more people to have that opportunity, right? And to have that happen, you need to have strong duplication. And that starts from the very beginning when you're telling them about the products. That's when it starts. Mm-hmm. Right, Mom?
Right, exactly.
So, okay, so do you want to add anything to that, or should we move on to page 70?
No, I love that. Let's move on. That was perfect.
Okay, so page 70, I'm going to read something really quick, and then Mom, I want you to talk about telling your story. So get ready for that. But he says, so we're going to jump around a little bit and go to telling your story first before we talk about presentations. But I love this part. I'm going to read it out loud. The pros bring passion, enthusiasm, excitement, and belief. If you ever watch a pro at work, you'll see a fire in them that is contagious. Make passion, enthusiasm, excitement, and belief your main priority. I added the main. Then invite professionally and let the third-party resource do the work. Mm-hmm. That is like everything right there. It's that passion and that belief, and not bogged down with needing to know facts, although they are important, but coming at them with just, I just cannot wait for you to be on these products and what they're going to do in your body, and you are just going to love your results. I'm so excited to see them. People, Chris McCall shared with me on a little Zoom he did for some of my girls, that people don't have a, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't have a wall up against enthusiasm. People don't have a wall or a rebuttal against contagiousness and that fire inside of you. And think about when you watch some Zooms from some of these diamonds and you're just like, ooh, I am ready to go. Right? It's not what they say, it's that passion they bring. And you have to have that when you're talking to somebody. And it's okay if you're not naturally a blue like me and you're not going to jump when you're talking naturally. That's okay. Mom's not. Mom brings so much belief in what she's sharing, and that overtakes anything else. That's the priority. Mm-hmm. So Mom, can you talk about that, like sharing your story and bringing belief with that, and how to share your story properly?
Sure. And we have a saying, I'm sure you guys have all heard it, is facts tell and stories sell. And the reason telling a story sells is because you're connecting with people's emotions, and you're also connecting with their needs. And before I talk about telling a story, well, I guess we're going to get to it later, so never mind. There's something that's really important. But I think that people like to hear, this is a relationship business. Mm-hmm. You are in social marketing. We're approaching our friends and our family. They know us. A lot of times you've developed relationships with a cold market, and that's now your friend. That's somebody that you know from the grocery store, the post office. You see them all the time. And so really they're most interested in your personal story. And as you're telling it, they're going to relate to events and times in their life and their own goals. Because something I say a lot is people really are very focused on themselves. So they're thinking about themselves while they're listening to your story.
Mm-hmm. That's perfect. That's perfect. I was just thinking about how I love to tell people, like, hashtag no more bloat, hashtag no more constipation, because that means so much to them. I'm just going to be real. That means way more than let's get your gut healthy. Because they're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm constipated all the time. What is she talking about? Right?
Yeah.
Right?
So I loved Shelly Nisley's honeymoon story. When she talked about she was on her honeymoon, she posted it. And that she had oatmeal every morning because she was, so worried, and she kind of told a story about how that used to cause her like stress and discomfort. And, people can relate to that, especially if there's anybody in that same situation.
Exactly. So that's hilarious. I remember being on the international trip to Thailand being like, thank you, Lord, for BioCleanse. Okay, but moving on. So people are listening for what relates to them in your story. That's what we're trying to say. And he talks about in here how he worked on and perfected his story. Don't worry if it doesn't come naturally. You're probably going to have to rewrite it a few times. And he gives you tips on here. You're going to start with your background, the things you didn't like about your background, or maybe what you wanted to change. So I love being a stay-at-home mom. That's my background. But there were things that I wanted to be different in that. Not that I just didn't like, right? 3, how network marketing, how social marketing, or your company, how Plexus came to the rescue. How did Plexus come to the rescue? And 4, your results or how you feel about your future. So what we want you to do, what your assignment is after this Zoom this week, we want you to write your story. And we don't want you to just write it once. We want you to write it, edit it, look it over. Would you be intrigued? Would your interest be piqued? Is it short? No longer than the story he shared that was his. Voice message it. You can actually, if you voice message, you can, if you don't know this, you can search yourself on Messenger and voice messages to yourself so you can practice. Voice message it or get a fancy app. Send it to your upline, send it to your sidelines. Ask them, what do you think? Is this good? Am I saying too much? Am I not? Is this not me? Make it you. If you try to sound like Eric Worre, it's probably not going to sound very good because that's him. That's a man in this industry, right? So make it you. So that's going to be your assignment for this. I could read, well, we'll just move on. I wrote down my little story to share with you guys, but I'll, do you want to share your story, Mom, really quick as an example?
Sure. I just want to also add one little tip to this, to you telling your story, is it's awesome and wonderful for you to have your story memorized. You know what your story is. That's you. So I think it's a good idea to have a business story and a product story. But an even better idea is most of us have something in common with the person we're wanting to tell the story to. And so my story, I keep it, really, really short. But if I'm talking to somebody that mine's weight loss and digestive health, and then I have my husband. Everybody knows what happened with him on the products and how amazing and needed that was. And then I have my business side. And so I do kind of tailor, I'm either going to talk about digestion mostly, how I felt and what I dealt with, or I'm going to talk about my weight loss and kind of put less focus on the digestive issues, but it's still my story. And so that comes into some other things we're going to talk about tonight, which is the importance of knowing who you're talking to, relating to them, and listening to them, envisioning their story through you telling your story.
Exactly. So starting with their why, kind of, when you're telling your story. But he shares this how to tell your story because he's talking about being good about telling your testimony. For when you do a sip and see or a launch or you're in person and someone says, what do you do? And you know what to say. So my story, if I was and I was going to give my testimony really quick at a sip and see or something, I could say something like, hi, my name is Amber, and I'm a stay-at-home mom of 2. I loved being a full-time mom, but because of that, my husband worked really long hours, and we were always on a tight budget. I didn't want to live that life for the next 40 years with maybe a hope of retirement. And that's when I discovered Plexus, and it has changed my family's life. Now, while still being a stay-at-home mom, I get to add significant income to our family, freed up my husband's time, and created freedom for our future. That's what Plexus has done for me. So that is my really quick story. That's where I'm relating to probably who I'm talking to, stay-at-home moms who are on a tight budget, who want more, and I'm giving them hope. That's me giving them hope in my story really short. So for example, okay, he talks about getting really good at your story and learning your story and what makes it unique to you. And now we're going to talk about events and how to do a sip and see, a launch party, or an event, and just how to make it stress-free, how to make it exciting and fun. Just like last week we talked about inviting prospects to look at your opportunity. If you know that you are just a voice for these products, then it's fun. If you're just trying to share information, it's fun for you and it's fun for your prospect, right? So events. First off, in page 72, when he talks about how he learned to do an event, I love this. I'm not going to read it all, but he gives 2 or 3 paragraphs on how he decided to become a master at opportunity events. By being a student, by learning, by being prepared, by being diligent and dedicated and having the mindset of a professional, right? Later on, when he's telling a story, he said, so I did the only thing I could control. I started to prepare like my life hung in the balance, right? He didn't decide to walk away. He knew he had to do it if he wanted his business to move forward. So what I was sharing with Mom earlier was I remember, and it was a huge moment for me when Kristen Abart, I think it was Kristen, said, if your calendar is not full of 3-way chats and 3-way phone calls and events and sip and sees and launch parties, then your business will not be moving forward. That's how crucial and important being able to do a sip and see is. So what a sip and see is, if you don't know, and then Mom, I want you to share your story and then we'll wrap this up, is your new ambassador, or let's say you just joined Plexus. You just joined Plexus and you invite some friends over, try to get 10, 15 friends, the more the better. It doesn't, if you have 3 friends, great, sit around the coffee table and drink coffee and share. If you do not have this catalog, get this catalog. This beautiful new catalog Plexus came out with. I just did an event with Sonia Dudley a month and a half ago. And you know what we used? We used bottles of our own product and this catalog. No slideshow, no presentation. We probably had 50, 55 people in the room. And this is what we used. We literally held it up and went like this. Key ingredients in this product is just amazing what it does for your body. And we shared our story. That's what we did.
Yeah, so 50 people, her and Sonia Dudley. How duplicatable is that?
Yeah.
Just about anybody can do that.
Yes. So Mom, share your story of your first event. Someone just said they're having their first event Thursday night, so this is perfect.
Yay! Okay, so my first event, first of all, I had no upline anywhere nearby at all to come and do an event for me. And so I knew I had to do an event. And why did I know I had to do an event? Because Amber dragged me to an event when I was in Tennessee. So see how important events are.
You're right, I did. And you know what? My upline asked me 3 times and finally took me out to eat and took care of my baby while I sat in a little salon and listened to an event.
Yes.
Remember? And I
didn't want to go to that event that you made me go to.
No, Mom was driving home from Nashville because she was visiting me in Tennessee.
The other one, that was a training.
Oh, the training was really good. That was a good story. She had her car loaded with groceries, and I met her at the interstate and switched vehicles with her and took her groceries home because I knew she had to go to the training because I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that if Mom caught the fire and the passion, everything would be okay.
And it was.
And it was.
Good job. And so sometimes you really have to encourage people to be there, but then they're so thankful that they did. I mean, if Amber had not forced me to go to an event, I wouldn't be here right now. And most likely, I don't know. But so my first event, I knew I had to do an event because that is what I had seen people do. And I watched Sonia Dudley because that was the only event available at the time. And I watched her so many times. And Sonia is so cute. I mean, would anybody want to try to duplicate Sonia? And I had no public speaking experience. I'd just been a stay-at-home mom for 25 years. So this was so out of my comfort zone, you guys. Like, you can't even imagine. And I cried in the mirror that day to myself in my bathroom mirror. And I said, I can't do this. I just had like tears rolling down my eyes. And I believed in Plexus so much, the products and the opportunity. I decided I am going to die on this hill, but I'm going to go down fighting. So I had 6 people in my living room. 4 of them were already customers. One of them was my neighbor that I begged her to come because I needed like bodies. And I stood up there and I tried to be Sonia and I realized I wasn't Sonia and I actually started crying during the event. And thank God somebody that was there in my living room, and it was actually Cindy Franklin, she asked me a question. And when she asked me the question, I realized I'm just in my living room with 6 people that I know. Like, why am I trying to be Sonia Dudley? And so that was just a pivotal moment for me. I was like, I love these products. I can talk about what I love about these products, which is what everybody had tried to tell me anyway. And in a small setting, people can ask questions. This is a conversation. And so after that, I didn't die, and here I am.
You made it to Diamond. You didn't die. You climbed the hill. You went to Diamond in 9 months, right?
12 months.
12 months? Okay. Yeah. Emerald 9 months. So I love that, guys. If that doesn't inspire you, then this one should. When I did my first event, I was Emerald. I had made it to Emerald. I had just turned Emerald. And I had made it to Emerald without doing an event. But it took me a long time to get to Emerald. But that's how terrified I was. My mom tricked me. She put my face on flyers and put them like all over town and all over social media and in her group. I didn't know. Yes, because she loved me. She actually told me, Amber, you're going to thank me. You're going to thank me. And I'm like, I'm never going to thank you. We've all been there. And I for the full couple days leading up to it, I felt so sick. I was terrified. I was praying. Have you ever prayed that you get sick? I was praying I would get sick and I wouldn't be able to do it. I used to do that as a kid. I regressed back to that, and so I actually, on the day of the event, I threw up and got physically ill 6 times. 6 times before the event, guys. And I didn't even have to do the whole thing myself. I just had a little speaking part. That's how terrified I was. But I did it. And I did it again, and I did it again, and I did it again. And it probably took 6 or 7 times of doing it until I didn't feel physically ill beforehand. And you know what? I still get nervous. But here's the key thing, 2 key things I want you to remember. 1, what we talked about in the beginning. When you're sharing one-on-one with a person, when you're messaging someone, when you're doing a sip and see, an event, I want you to remember it's all about them. They're just thinking about them. You need to just think about them and what you are offering. Okay? It's all about them. If you're nervous, you're thinking about yourself and what they're going to think of you. They're not thinking about that anyways. Okay? And the second thing I want you to remember is that you will feel that fear and you will face it and you will feel it and do it anyways. And the more you face it and do it anyways, the better you're going to get. If you want to be successful, you want to be a diamond on stage, and you want to stand up there with all the applause and the things falling down and feel that feeling, you're going to have to face the fear first if you have it. And just know that the more you face it, the better you'll get. And it's all part of the progress and part of the territory, and it's okay. Do it anyways. Just do it anyways. So that's what I want to leave you with tonight. Mom, did you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say a couple things. One thing, if you don't want to be on stage, if that freaks you out, then that's not your why. Just remember, this girl is a blue, so it wasn't my goal to be on stage. I did want the income and I did want the car. And now being on stage is great. I love it, but it wasn't my goal. But I want you to remember a few things. I wrote them down. So you remember that you are not the message. You are the messenger. So you are in this process with them. You are guiding the process, but it is their process and their decision making that you're helping facilitate. Do not overthink this process, because really our products are inexpensive and they have a 60-day money back guarantee. So I know that we're breaking this all down, but people go silver in a day for a reason. There are people out there looking for solutions, and we have them. And we have long-term sustainable solutions for people. And so that is what you need to remember. And the other thing that I love that we said that I want to make sure you write down, a really important point, when Amber said your calendar needs to be full. It needs to be full of FaceTime with people. FaceTime either through Zooms or events, coffee meetings, sip and sees, one-on-ones, messaging, anything where you're interacting with people. That is what is going to grow your business.
Exactly. Perfect. So you're just a messenger. So you get out there at your sip and see, you tell your story, you tell what the products have done. If you're still growing your story, you tell what they've done so far. I'm sleeping better. I have more energy. I'm a happier person. Everybody wants those results, guys. Don't discount your story if that's where it's at right now. It will continue to grow. But tell your upline, this is a picture of my upline or my upline. That's what Wendy Larson did at her first event, right? Didn't she just print out some testimonies and pictures and read off testimonies? And have your products there. Let people taste a little sample, a little tiny cup sample of Slim. You can say, here's the catalog if you want to know what's in it. I mean, look at, guys. There's alpha lipoic acid, chromium. I just said that with a lot of passion. But if I had told you my story, you'd be like, wow, right? So the story is what matters, and the passion and excitement and belief. So, yeah, thank you so much, guys, for being on with us. I feel like we could talk forever, but we will see you next Monday. Go fill up your calendars and share. All right. Bye.